Rental markets are booming, and trust me when I say a lot of landlords are minting money from their rentals currently because not a lot of people are able to afford building a home. So there has been this boost into the rental market whereby a lot of these young people, the people that are graduating, the people that have just got new jobs, people that are getting promotions, are all going into renting because the trend is shifting, not just generationally, but it is also because of affordability. So in this video, I wanted to explain to you how smart landlords are winning in this rental market. What strategies are they using? So make sure you stick around until the end. Hello and welcome back to another Realty Insights episode. My name is Raymond and I work for Realty Services Limited. We are a real estate services company that is trying to redefine the real estate industry, and one of the ways we do that is by providing these videos and making these videos and content for our viewers, for our clients that are trying to learn more about how the industry is working and what to expect when they go into real estate investment, especially while you are dealing with rentals and anything related to managing assets. So the first tip I have here on our topic of rental markets and how people that are actually doing well are winning is pricing rentals using data and not just guesswork. So the first point we have seen that is a pressure point for actually all tenants is going to be the price of the unit that they want to rent. When they come to your unit or your property or your offering, whatever it is, let's say maybe it's not residential, it's a commercial place. So when they come to your place and they are looking at how much are you renting your unit at, they are mentally going to be comparing it to all these other places they have been to, because trust me, no tenant is only going to come and look at your property. They have definitely gone out on a random Saturday or Sunday and looked at 5, 6, 10 properties, and they kind of know what the price range has been and what kind of amenities have been provided in each of those offerings. So they will know that, let's say for example, an apartment is being priced at 1.3, and then for a bungalow maybe it's being priced at 1.6 because it has a compound, and then they will know that for a one bed it's at, let's say, 800. So when you come in with your offer of, let's say you have a 2-bedroom, so you have a 2-bedroom house and that is the unit that you have in an apartment block. So you have an apartment block, maybe there are 6 units, each of them are 2-bed, so you are renting each out. What price are you actually renting that out? So some landlords have taken up this strategy whereby they throw out a random number and then they see what the client tells them, and then they try to sort of set their rent based on that, and that is what we call guesswork in our company. So the right way to do this would be to, once you're constructing, once you are building, once you are maybe purchasing the property, you're going to go out into that very neighborhood and you're going to scope out properties that are similar to yours. So you're going to look for other complexes that are maybe not just 6 units, but they could be 12, they could be 24. But you're going to be looking for 2-bedroom apartments. So if yours has a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, kitchen, and laundry room, you're going to be looking for something that is closer to that. And then you're going to ask for landlord number 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 3 to 5 comparables. So you're going to compare what those people are charging, how new the property is, and what other extra amenities are being provided by those landlords. And then you're going to compare that vis-a-vis what you have, so that you can in turn come up with what rent is, I should say, comfortable and fair for you to charge. So this is not going to be like a fixed figure of, let's say, 1.2, if that is your average. You're going to give it a range, okay? And then you're going to add up your markup because, one, your unit is new. If it is new, definitely it's going to be a little bit more premium than the ones that have been on market for a long time. So when you do that, you start to see that you set your price and you're going to stick to it because you know that I have data to actually provide to the client and tell you that I went to all these, or you can go to all these 4 landlords. This is what they are pricing it at, and this is what I'm pricing it at. and I know this is fair market value for you. And on the back end, once you have that figure, once you're not guessing, you can actually work backwards and calculate what your net return is going to be, and then you can either push or lower that value based on what you want your ROI to be. So your return on investment. If you are looking for 15%, you can then adjust that. If you are comfortable with a 10%, 7%, you can adjust that. If you're looking to hit a home run, you can also adjust that, as long as the market can ably pay you that money. So it is very beneficial for you to actually run your numbers and make sure that you are investing and pricing based on facts and data instead of using guesswork. And that is the first and actually the most useful, I should say, strategy I have seen a lot of the successful landlords using, because it is simply going to save you a lot of time having that back and forth with the client because they are trying to negotiate a price. And then it's going to remove that uncertainty from you yourself, because you're going to seem more sure about what you're actually saying. You have done the numbers, you have read the price, and you're not easily willing to compromise in a case where you could actually get clients because you know what your property is worth. So definitely having those figures and numbers is going to put you way above the others, and I'm very sure that you're going to win in the long run. The second tip here is to attract reliable tenants. So having a reliable tenant is a two-factor thing. So the first thing is attracting a good tenant, and then the second one is keeping them. So that is the trick. You have to first of all attract them, and then you have to keep them for the long term, because a lot of landlords don't realize that you lose a lot of costs when your unit is vacant. So when your unit is vacant, you are losing money because that is missed income. And then when a tenant moves out, or when a tenant leaves, first of all, you're going to go for things like repairs, regardless of the fact that they pay for, I should say, they have a security deposit and they are paid for repairs. Yes, it's still going to take you time to turn over that unit so that you can get it rented for the next person. You might actually have to go through marketing costs. So you might actually even have to pay brokers. You might have to pay your company or someone that is doing it for you to go out and actively look for a client, and then you have to run a background check on them. If you're doing a criminal record, you're going to spend money, and all that is going to amount all these expenses that a lot of people don't track just because they let go of a good tenant. So like I said, it's a two-factor approach. The first one is finding the right tenant, and then planning and actually keeping them in the long term. So how you find them is through tenant screening, and then how you keep them is making sure that you are communicating with them. So when they have an issue, you are responsive, or your team is responsive to them. If they are working something out for rent and they don't have it on time, you're able to give them a payment schedule and work with them, not being lenient, but you are generally more accommodating to them and able to sit on table and discuss with them, and then they sort of now start to see that they feel heard and they feel cared for, and this is a place they can actually call home. If they have a repair that they have made a request for, it doesn't take 2 months, it takes maybe 2 weeks, 2 days, and it is done. It shows them that you actually care about this place that they call home, and it just gives you far much trust. It gives you far more leverage from them, because they now simply find these ways in which they want to pay you back. So they pay rent on time, they don't damage the property, they look after it. They also want to stay there for the long run, simply because to them, you have given them the perception that you are a good landlord and you care for them. And then the third tip that a lot of our landlords are using is actually implementing leases. So this one is a weakness for a lot of the landlords that we started out with, simply because they would sign a lease with the client when they were moving in, and then they would forget to update that, or they would forget to renew that, or they would lose the lease, So I harp on this point a lot during our videos, because the lease is the one thing that protects you while you are in a tenant dispute or when things go wrong. Because for most of the time during your property management career or your landlording career, things will be going right. But we all know that there are those times when things just don't go right, or when things go wrong, they turn sour, and you need to pull ropes with people. So in those cases, it helps a lot to have something that is going to be managing that relationship between you and the client, or between your agent and the client if you have a property manager. So definitely make sure that you draft your leases and then you review them annually. One, to make sure that all leases are up to date, so everyone has a running lease. And then number two, to make sure that your lease, like the actual format and everything and the clauses, are also up to date. So if any law has changed, you make sure that it is updated. If, let's say, your successor has changed and you had them in the lease, make sure that changes. If, let me say, the property has changed hands, it has gone into another person, you definitely shouldn't keep the previous owner's name on the new lease when you are the new owner. So things like that are really things that people underlook, but then they end up posting a lot of legal fees when things finally go bad. So that's where you see people come up with all these horror stories and they hate landlording, when the simple thing was that there was neglect somewhere in the system, because landlording and property management is definitely a system, and once you work the system pays you more and more and more, and you end up becoming one of those landlords that are winning instead of losing. The fourth tip I have here is to build respectful, responsive relationships. So I already harped on this one earlier, but when a tenant feels respected, they are definitely going to want to pay it forward to you. When they feel heard, when you are responsive to them, they generally have this indebtedness that they kind of take care of your property, they pay on time, and they stay for the long run because they definitely know they're not going to get that from elsewhere. So once you find a good tenant and then you're able to keep them by being responsive to them, by building that respectful relationship, by doing everything by the books, they have no reason as to why they should go away, or they have no reason as to why they should go legal. Because, like I've said, you are respectful and you do all your duties as a landlord. Your obligations to the tenant are all fulfilled. So in turn, they have this obligation, this internal thing that actually runs them and says, I need to actually fulfill all my obligations to my landlord. I love my place, I love my home, and this is why I want to stay. So once you are able to do these four things, trust me that you're going to be among the top percentage of the landlords in Uganda that are actually winning in this rental market, despite of the fact that a few hiccups and a few economic factors are going to affect us. There are always going to be those landlords that are going to have their units 100% full. And what are these landlords doing? These landlords are pricing their rentals using data and not guesswork. These landlords are attracting the right tenants, so they are screening them and then they are keeping them for the long term. These landlords have their leases in check, so they have their leases, they have receipts, they have all their documentation well organized, well kept, and they can easily pull out something if they needed it. Another important one is actually receipts that I didn't talk about, but things like payments, you really need to keep those documents in check. And then lastly, these landlords are respectful and responsive. So they build respectful and responsive relationships with their clients. It is not that they are always available for them, but when the client reaches out to you, when they need you to come in and pitch in something, when they need a consideration because of something they are going through, you are able and flexible to work with them. So definitely look out for those four. Make sure that you are pricing your rentals right using data and not guesswork. Make sure that you are attracting the right tenants in, and then make sure that you have all your leases and documents in check. So receipts, leases, make sure that you have all that in check. Taxes, make sure that you have all that in check. And then lastly, make sure that you build respectful and responsive relationships with not just your tenants, your neighbors, your property managers. All this is going to make sure that at the end of the day, everyone is always looking out for your property, even when you're not there, because all the tenants are going to be looking out for, oh, this person damaged this, and then they will call you and say, oh, Mr. Landlord, I think you should know about this because this person is actually wronging you. So you're going to have a far much better experience. You're going to be the landlords that are winning. You're going to be having a profitable business when you do these four things. I hope you liked this video and you enjoyed it. Please like and comment below if you did, and if you have any other questions, if you had anything to add to this, please leave it in the comments below. My name is Raymond from Landlords Services Limited, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.